Thank you for tuning into Your Dose podcast. This series is sponsored by the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain. CFGNB connects donors who care with causes that matter. Their mission is to inspire philanthropy, manage permanent charitable assets, and address key community issues through strategic leadership. If you're interested in sponsoring our Your Dose podcast, make sure to follow the link below.
Welcome back to Your Dose. We're the plug for all things prevention.
I'm your host, Omar, and these guys are
Liz.
And I'm Anaida.
And today's topic is unconventional alternatives to drug use. So, guys, I have a few questions that I wanted to start off with. What are some of your uncommon hobbies?
Do you want to go first?
No.
No? Okay, that's okay. Dang, on the spot. This is like a real podcast.
Yes.
Some of my unconventional hobbies include, I just got into crocheting, but I really like pickleballing. That's been my summer.
Nice.
My summer hobby to do because I love working out, but sometimes I get tired of being at the gym. So pickleballing, I think I talked about this actually in the last episode. I do it, and I guess the reason I say that it's a little unconventional is because most of the demographic that joins pickleballing are older residents because they have a lot of pickleball courts on senior centers. So I'm seeing more young people joining us doing these things, but this is my second year playing pickleball, and I got my niece to do it with me. We actually did a game yesterday, so it's pretty fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
What about you, Liz?
I'm not sure if I could call it unconventional, but I'm Miss Connecticut, and that's what I do to keep me going. That's what keeps me busy. Yeah. I do appearances for all around Connecticut, and of course I have to prepare for the big competition that's happening in Orlando. So that's just what I do. Yeah.
Are you gonna go to Disney or Universal while you're over there?
I have the option to. I don't know if we're going to do it. We're still planning. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have to fundraise for all that?
Well, for my state's pageant, I did have to fundraise, but since I won the Connecticut title, they cover that sponsorship fee.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Wow.
but they only cover the $950 to get into the competition. Everything else you have to buy
cover
yourself.
Okay.
So you could still fundraise, but it's not needed.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll answer that question also. So, I don't know if it's a hobby, but it's another job that I do. I coach football, and football takes up a lot, high school football at the high school, New Britain High. And it takes up a good, depending on the time of the year, it could take up 30, 40 hours out of my day on top of the 30, 40 hours that I put into regular work. So it's more than a hobby to me. It's kind of a second job almost, but it's a lot of fun, just like my regular job is. It's a lot of fun, and it's something I love doing, and it marries things that I am passionate about, kids and football. It marries that together very well. So that is one of my unconventional alternatives.
I was gonna actually add something to that too.
What?
I just started serving at my church, so I serve in the kids ministries, and that's
There you
also
go.
a passion of mine. But it's technically a hobby, but it's not a hobby because it's more of servitude. That's one of the things that one of the virtues that you talk about in church a lot. So a lot of people are encouraged to serve at their church, and that takes up a lot of my Sunday, which decreases my me time that's directed for me, because I have to work. I usually have to be at the church at 6 a.m. and then I don't get out of there until 3 p.m. So that's my entire Sunday.
Yep. And don't you find, with these hobbies, don't you find that the more time you're investing into them, the less time, if you were a kid or, a young person, which you guys are, the least amount of time you have to get involved with drugs, out drinking, stuff like that. You guys don't have the time, and especially, being Miss Connecticut, you obviously cannot be
I can't.
under the influence.
I had to sign contracts, and I have to maintain this persona and type of but being involved in a lot of different things, unconventional or conventional, it distracts your mind from substance use. So if you keep yourself busy, it just gives you another reason to like not use drugs or smoke, any of that stuff, because you still have to be presentable and keep this professional image for whatever type of hobby or work or anything you're doing.
Yeah. And I think that grows into like the older that you get too, because it's good that they have you sign contracts for that, because you have to do that for a job as well. If you're agreeing to do a certain position, when you get started, part of your onboarding process, that's what it's called, is to sign an agreement, which is a contract saying that you're not going to engage in X, Y, and Z. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to also write that you're not engaging in any substance use. And I think the same way that you say, like, I think about, like, when I think Miss Connecticut, I think, okay, public figure, somebody
Yes.
that other people are
Yes.
looking at, someone that
Mentor.
they're a mentor.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
it can be a good pressure, but it is a pressure to maintain a space for influence that's positive influence.
Exactly.
As a prevention coordinator, I'm very lucky that my job is also very media centered, but also that's another pressure to know, like, if I'm going as an adult, going out with friends, like, I'm very mindful of what I'm doing, even if I don't see any students around me, because someone could have seen me on TV or Instagram or Facebook, and then they know that's New Britain Youth Prevention. So I make sure I'm not doing anything crazy, because I know that other people could be looking at me. And even like my nephews were like, oh yeah, I saw you on TV, Titi Naida. And I'm like, oh cool, which is, it's cool. But sometimes it's like, oh shoot, like other kids are seeing me
Everybody's
too.
watching.
Someone might
Exactly.
recognize you one day too. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
Yep. So I think about that a lot. And so it's good that you're building that habit right now, because sometimes your job will require you to be someone who is a public figure in certain aspects, and you want to maintain a sense of professionality, but also like self-health, because you don't want it to display negatively to other people that you're working with.
Okay. Let's move on to question number 2. What inspired you both to explore the hobbies that you're involved with?
Ooh.
Well, I was actually nominated. I one day randomly got
That's
a letter
awesome.
on the mail. To this day, I still don't know who it was.
Really?
I don't. I don't.
Wow.
It said that it could be someone I was close with or someone from the government, which I don't know. So, like,
The governor, like
I
that's
don't
kind of
know.
creepy.
I don't know. So, but what I mean like by that is like someone liked the way that I do at school, and they saw that. So they nominated me for that, and so they're like, okay, so now you have the option. And then I went to this open call, and there I had to talk to a person that asked me some questions about myself and see if they truly really wanted me. And that's why I became a state finalist, and to that started building.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so
That's
cool.
cool.
I never knew how the process worked to like
And someone
do
just
pageants.
blindly nominated you. That's
It was
very
a nomination,
cool.
but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you can just apply it if you want. Yeah. Like
Wow.
anybody can do it. Yes.
Cool.
Have you ever thought about, I'll answer the question, but I had a follow-up for that one. Did you ever like think about doing pageants before you got nominated, or was it in your
No.
radar? Oh wow.
Absolutely not. I would have never thought I would be a pageant girl because, okay, so I have to do an intro for the competition, right? And I'm thinking of starting it like one day running in the track, and the next I'm like doing pageants. Like that just goes to show like how spontaneous this was. I
Yeah.
really did not expect to be doing this. Like I'm just a track girl. So
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
So Liz also runs track in high school.
yes.
FYI.
Yeah.
So what about pickleball?
So actually, I started pickleballing because I had just moved back to Connecticut. I had been living in Florida for 4.5 years. And there's a lot to do in Florida, especially because it's nice all the time. For most of the seasons, it's really nice. Sometimes it could get a little warm, but there was a lot of things for people that are my age to do. And then when I moved here, Connecticut is very family oriented, and especially in West Hartford, where it's like 4 families with little kids. So they have a lot of really great outside of school or after school or summer programs, but they're more directed to like kindergarten to 12th grade. So for somebody who's 25, it's just in my age group, there's like the options for someone who's young usually involves substance use. And I just didn't want to be someone who was out in the bars and drinking. But I wanted to make friends. So when I decided that I wanted to do something, I just started looking at like what are hobbies that people do over the summer. And pickleballing just kind of popped up. I know that there are pickleball courts. They're right around the corner from my house, less than 5 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk if I just wanted to walk over. And it's always packed because you have people playing basketball there, you have people playing tennis there, and you have people pickleballing. And one day, my best friend, Rita, she invited me to go pickleballing with her. And she's like, let's go to the courts that are by your house. And I was like, okay. So we went together. I fell in love with it. And that's when I was like, wow, this is so cool. And pickleballing has a really good community group. So everybody there, you can just jump into the game and say, I have no idea how to play. And they're really welcoming. And they'll just say, oh, yeah, come join us. We'll teach you some moves. And I seem like a very outgoing person, but I am usually very shy at first and I like to look around. I'm very observant. So one of the first things that I noticed when I played pickleball with Rita was that everyone asked us if we wanted to play. And it was my first game and I'm like, I don't know how to play. They're like, that's fine. Let's teach you some moves. So that's really the story of how I started. And now I continued it this year. I kind of go by myself and I'll play with other people, but I like to go and just, I know that there's always going to be someone that says yes to play with because it's hard to go into like a basketball game and be like, I have no idea how to play. And then they're going to be like, well, why are you coming to play?
Yeah, you'll be sitting there all day.
This is a very forgiving sport and hobby to have.
Cool. All right. How are these not as common alternatives to drug use more effective than traditional ones? That's a tough question, but
anybody can do these hobbies, you know. There's sometimes people who feel like they can't do certain stuff because they're not good at it, but you can always learn and grow. So if you know that you're not good at running, I'm using running because I run, but like if you're not good at running and you know that, that's okay because you can do something else like pickleballing, and which doesn't require much running, I think.
It's exercise, but it's not like crazy. Like it's very forgiving. It's a smaller course, so you can run a little bit, but not too much.
Would you say that pickleball is traditional?
Traditional?
Yeah, I think, was that part of the question? Yeah, traditional. Like, what does traditional mean, actually? Like,
so
what do you mean by that?
It's like the everyday hobby.
Okay.
Like some people collect stamps.
Yeah.
Some people collect coins, baseball cards or something like that. Those are kind of traditional hobbies.
Like being in pageants, and I feel pickleballing aren't very common.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely think that pickleballing is for an older demographic. It is becoming more popular with people my age and younger, but it's like you kind of stumble upon it is mostly the story for everybody. They're like, I just gave it a try and fell in love with it. Yeah. Whereas like senior centers, they usually have a pickleball court inside, or they offer opportunities to do that because it is one of those sports that like you can do it really close or you can move around a lot. It just depends on how you play the game. So that's why it is a sport that older people can play a little bit more easily. But when I thought of pickleballing, I just always thought that it was an old person sport, and I'm so sorry for saying that. But also they whip my butt whenever I play. Like these folks know how to play.
Yep.
So I would say that it's not necessarily traditional for someone in my age group, but it is a little bit more traditional for someone who's older. It's becoming more popular. I think to circle back to the first part of the question of like how this has helped for me personally, like within church, being a server for the kids ministries, it's like we kind of all go through the same process, the ups, the downs, the everything's in the betweens. And like if you're having a hard day serving with your kids, 9 times out of 10 somebody else was also having a hard day with the kids because they could have just been a difficult group to work with that day. And it's like you're not alone in that process. And one thing that I love about serving at church is that it's just a really good way for me to get connected to other people more intimately, because sometimes you'll have people that attend services but they just go to service and then they leave home, and there's not really a community that you can engage with. So what I like about having that part be unique is that we all have the unique experience of serving in the kids ministry, and then you have the media team or you have the hospitality team, and it continues on like that, where we all are a big group, but then we also have our little groups that we really
Subgroups,
vibe
yeah.
with. Yeah. And it's nice. It's something that we can talk about, laugh about, and grow out of together as well, not just inside of church service.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'd also like to add on, I write for my school and the newspaper.
There you
Oh,
go.
wow.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, I do that because I love writing. So I think that I would count that as one of my hobbies. And that's like really effective because it helps me find a way to talk about my feelings and write them down rather than look for something towards like substance use. And they usually use it to get away from those feelings. But instead of me escaping from them, I just
Write
go
it down.
towards them. I write about them. I
Do
say
you
everything I
journal?
have to say. I used to journal. I don't do that anymore. Fortunately, I don't have the time anymore.
Yeah.
That's
but,
fair.
But I did that when I was younger a lot. Yeah, I did that. Now if I ever have like strong feelings within me or I have a situation, I just write it down on my notes app. That's what I do.
Cool. I'm older, for the record, way older than these folks. But growing up, a lot of my hobbies, I used to, you guys probably won't remember, but I used to play electric football. I'm a football junkie as a kid, and I remember they're little plastic figures that you put on a metal board and vibrate and blah, blah, blah. It's a thing. But you paint them. And you paint the NFL teams that you want and blah, blah, blah. And I used to do that hours on end. Like, you wouldn't see me all summer. I'd be upstairs in my room painting little football guys.
Wow.
And that I missed out on not being outside and getting into trouble and all that kind of stuff that some of my friends would be doing during the summer. They're like, where were you? And I'm like, I was home. I was home, doing stuff. Plus, I grew up with pretty strict parents that even though school was not in session, you still had there's a lot of chores to be done. So they kept me pretty busy. And I think that's it's not a hobby, but it's an unconventional way of staying drug-free, is having strong parents that mindfully keep you busy.
Yeah.
Even in the summer, and when this recording is in August, so kids are out of school and there's a lot of free time. And I think in my experience as a youth advocate, this is when kids start experimenting with stuff and they have time on their hands. And I just remember not having that time, and that's always kind of stuck with me. And it's always kind of why my mindset working with kids is I want to keep them busy. Even like my youth leadership council kids, Anaida knows we have stuff to do almost every other week. We have an event or we have something planned or we're doing podcasts or we're keeping busy. So like Liz said, she has so much stuff to do. She doesn't have time to think about partaking in, drugs or alcohol and stuff like that. So I think keeping busy in itself is a hobby. It's just finding out what you enjoy doing to fill that time.
Yeah. And actually, so this podcast, I believe, is going to come out in December. And in the cold months, like pickleball, you can't do that unless you go indoors, and usually you have to pay for submission. So I try to find like other things that I can do a little bit more often. And my like thing during the winter time, because when you have or winter break off, you're still at home. So I try to like do things that I can do at home. And when you said journaling, like that's one of the things that I do. I read a lot. I like try to get as many books in as possible in the cold months. And that doesn't require paying for something. I feel like you rent out of the library. You can always go to like cafe. Shout out Busy Bean and any other local places in New Britain because they're super cute. But I try to make a point to like go somewhere new, a new cafe that I haven't been to before, and making an experience and reading. And that really helps me stay busy. And I think what's nice about staying so busy is that when you do have time to relax, that's really all you're doing.
Yeah,
you're just kind of sitting
focusing
there.
on the relaxation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it makes the rest part of that so much more appreciated, because if you're so busy, then like that time that you have, you're sitting there with that and you're just enjoying it. This week, my parents are out. I live with my parents and I have the house to myself. It's just my brother and I. And it's a little bit of a quieter week. And it's just been so nice to just sit down at home or cook or bake. Just little things that I don't normally get to have a lot of time to do when everybody's just at the house at the same time. And I've just been enjoying the quiet of the house. And that's something that's, I don't think a lot of people talk about, just like having a quiet house for a little bit. It's so nice. It's so nice. And I've been reading and just watching some of my favorite shows or getting some extra time in my Bible studies. Like, that's been great.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we? I'm getting old, so I have to lift my glasses to read, so don't mind me. What are the risks of having more unconventional hobbies?
Well, me personally, pageants can be very expensive, and it's also hard to find someone else you can relate to because
Yeah.
nobody does pageants
Yeah.
really unless you like go to a pageant and boom, there's a bunch of people that do pageants. But in a day-to-day life, like there's nobody that you could relate to and feel like, hey, I do that too. You know, that's so fun. Let's like talk about it. Let's connect and all that. And like I said, expensive. To like even join one has to have a sponsorship fee. The dresses and the optional contests, it's something that you have to think about, definitely. Another thing is that because it keeps you so busy, you might feel like you're left out with like friends who are going out and you can't do that. But like you just have to remember in the long run, it's really gonna benefit you. And you know, sometimes I watch my friends' stories and they're like having a blast only to find out that they were like kicked out of somewhere because that blast was actually like not good. Like they were doing something really bad. So I'm just like happy that I was staying busy with something that was proactive and helped me stay in
On track.
On track. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
For me, it's that my favorite hobbies are outside, and I'm Puerto Rican. I was born on the island. I'm very much an island girl through and through. I love the warmth. So during the summer, I'm thriving, or like during the warmer months, I'm thriving because I love hiking. I love reading at the beach. I love just being at the beach. I love pickleballing. But all of these are very season specific. So as soon as you get to the cold months, not necessarily fall because they do a lot of fall festivals, and it kind of is forgiving towards the hobbies that I like to do, like reading. But sometimes when I just go through a hard time mentally when it's dark outside and a lot of the things that you have to do require you to be indoors when I'm very much an outdoorsy person. So that's one of my difficulties because usually pickleball only happens in the summer unless you go into a pickleball league, and it also costs money. I'm a young person and I have to be frugal with my expenses at my age. So I have to be creative with the things that I do and just be very intentional about how to hang out with friends so that I could do fun things that don't necessarily cost a lot of money and that they work with whatever season we're in. When I was in Florida, I didn't really have to worry about it too much because it's always really warm out there other than hurricane season being really rainy. But in Connecticut, you have all 4 seasons. And that's actually one of the things that we look at like in the prevention world, when kids are stuck inside for too long. Are they doing something proactive or are they not doing something proactive? And I feel that as an adult, so I can imagine, but I know that I can't necessarily be in that space or relate fully what it's like to be a young person and then your season ends and you're not in like a winter season sport or a winter season hobby. I can see that being very difficult, especially because I'm mobile. I have my own car. I can drive places. So I think about some of the other areas that maybe someone who's your age doesn't get to experience and is having the same struggles that I do as an adult person. So yeah, that's one of them. And very similarly to at church, like there are a lot of people that are Christian, but then some people don't necessarily serve at their church. So sometimes it's sometimes hard to explain to people, yeah, I'm going to be at church for 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. They're like, why are you spending your whole day there? I'm like, well, I have to serve, I have to set up, I have to break down. I'm going to actual church service. And it can feel a little disconnecting if they don't necessarily do the same thing that you do.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with Anaida because during the cold months, it's just school, track, home, school, track, home, school, track, home.
Yep.
Like it's the same pattern, same routine. And I feel like for a lot of kids, um, like they can sometimes get involved with the wrong people. And that's like how it all starts.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when it's come for like summertime, that's when they pop out and they start like going out and it's just, it all gets worse from there and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
spirals. So
Yeah. I was actually thinking like COVID really taught me how to use my time indoors
Mm-hmm.
wisely because you were indoors all the time.
Yep.
My job at the time, I was working for a paint company, and we're essential workers because we sold N95 masks and we had other materials that construction workers could do. And construction was still happening because they could do it 6 feet apart. Um, so during COVID, I like really got into baking because
mhm.
there was really nothing else to do. I would go to work and be really stressed at work because it's just during COVID, working in COVID was very difficult.
Mm.
And then coming back home, there was nothing that I couldn't go outside. And that kind of got me into a headspace of like, okay, what can I do? What are creative ways? So I
Mm-hmm.
started building Legos. I still build Legos now.
Another hobby.
Another hobby.
Very
Yep.
good.
I bake. I cook a lot. I figure out new recipes that I can do. And those are budget friendly because I already have to spend money every week on my groceries. So I could just be like, oh, let me just create a new recipe that I haven't tried before. And I can use social media to like TikTok is super popular to find new things that you can do. So I go on TikTok, figure out like, oh, what's something that they're doing? Let me see if I like this or don't like it. So really my winter month hobbies are like building Legos, going bowling, roller skating, baking, and cooking. And it's a lot of just like that, but then trying to fit it into my work week.
Mm-hmm.
And it does help. I will say that if I find book clubs in the winter time, and having people that I can connect with online through like Facebook groups really helps me be like, okay, I have to read this chapter this week. I have to stay consistent. And it helps me find something that I like to do already, but have community in it,
Mm-hmm.
even if we can't meet in person.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Glasses up. How do these hobbies allow you to connect with others? And we touched on that. Is
You
the
can take that one.
yeah, the community involved?
Yes. Well, like I said, there's not many people that do pageants, but when you do get to meet the people, they're usually very connected with other important people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't know the right term for it, but it's not about what you know, it's who you know.
Oh, you're networking. Your
Like
network.
exactly.
Yep.
It's so important to network because that way you can like connect and learn new things and then it brings yourself like higher and higher if that makes sense. So that's like the good thing um about that. But also track and writing and being involved in school, that also like puts you out there because first of all, the school newspaper is posted online. So if you were to search my name up, like that's what you would see, like all the school papers that I would write. So it just puts you out there. So if someone like was to search you up, they're like, oh, I know who this girl is, or I like her writing and I like what she does. So people like start coming out to you.
Nice. Yeah.
So back to this question. How does the hobby allow to connect with others? For me, like I'm going back to my example of my painting football figures and whatnot. Me and my cousin did this 'cause he was my older cousin, and that was kind of allowed us to build our bond together as a family. And to go, I'd go over his house. So my aunt's there, my grandmother, my great grandmother. So that was a way for me to connect with my family on a different level, other than my grandmother, working me to death in the garden and whatnot. But football wise, my so-called hobby now, it's a way for me to connect with other kids, and give them my knowledge and teach sport of football. But on to when I deal with other football coaches throughout the state, I mean, we have these coaches clinics every year and we get together and it is I love it. Like I pay to go to these things just to be with people that are doing the same things that I'm doing. And it is like a weekend of just telling stories and seeing similarities between communities and what we're going through as a football coach and what our players are doing and what our experiences. It's a community in itself. And I think all the hobbies that people do, the pickleballers, they can have conversations about anything on a pickleball court. When you're at your pageants, you are with a bunch of girls that are doing the exact same things that you're doing. So I think community is important when you're doing hobbies. Um, and I love my football community, and I love my advocacy community, doing youth prevention and people that work with. We just had the STEPS program from Southington here. Those are people that live in a totally different community that deal with they're doing the same things that we're doing in New Britain. They're doing in Southington, so we can have conversations about what we're doing. So the community and when you're at work or you're doing your hobbies, I think is very important.
To that note too, Omar is very involved in everything student life. So I was just like, while you were talking, I was thinking about why all the kids and all the students in summer youth employment and in YLC, like why they all love you so much. It's because you make it your hobby to also be a part of their hobbies. So like graduations, he's there. Football games, he's there.
Dance
Band, he's
recitals,
there.
yeah.
Dance recitals, he's there.
Yep.
And that just like being able to recognize that you're a mentor in that space and that it is your hobby to just be in somebody else's life and be involved in their life. That's an unconventional way to get you out of substance use and like just supporting other people. And being like their advocate.
Absolutely.
That's a great way to do that.
Yep. And I think, part of having a hobby is being passionate about something.
Yep.
Being passionate about the hobby you're involved in. And if I wasn't passionate about kids, I wouldn't go to their, I'd punch a clock. I'd be 8 to 4, see you later, I'm done. I'm not doing anything after 4 o'clock. But when you're passionate about stuff, you don't worry about the time that it takes to get it done.
Yeah.
You don't worry about the effort. I want to go to Annalise's dance recitals. I want to go to their graduation. I've been at every New Britain High graduation since my sisters graduated in '86. I've gone to every one since then. I like doing that. It's part of who I am, and it's no big deal. And Anaida too, we work long days, especially on Wednesdays. We work a long day, but she's passionate about kids and prevention and keeping them busy. So in order to do that, you have to, extend your day a little and give something back of yourself. And that's what I do. I give a lot of myself, but I get a lot in return.
Yeah.
My reward is, dealing with a Miss Connecticut. Who gets that opportunity
I
to
know,
work
it's
with?
really
I
cool.
mean, that's an honor. Yeah. And
And I love y'all. Like, I always say this every time, like, no matter the group, I always feel like I connect with all the students and whatever background they're in. I really, truly, it would break my heart if I don't get along with a student because I love that I get to be there. And, I would say that this is my job, but it's not just my job. I feel passionate about it. And we do so much more than just sit in an office all day and check boxes. Like
you got that right.
Every month there's at least 2 events happening that we're co-leading, we're partnering in, we're in, and that's being very, that's very tip of the iceberg. Sometimes we have 4 events in a month. But the reason why we join it is because we just love working with you guys. Like, you guys are really so amazing. And I'm always in such awe about young leaders who are doing so much because I wish I had done more of that when I was younger.
Yes.
Like, I can see where, oh shoot, like I wasn't a part of a youth prevention. I wasn't doing 6, 7 clubs. And it was still, my high school experience was a little different, but it doesn't change the fact that I just get more encouraged to be really proactive outside of my job because I see young people like you doing already so much at your young age and how successful you will be in the future for committing your time now and having the brain to have resiliency and grit in everything that you do, because it's just beautiful and I love it. It doesn't, my job only feels like a job when I have to do the paperwork side of things. But when I work with students, I'm like, I'm just having a good old time. Like, we're not really looking at the time right now. Yeah.
All right, we're almost done. Oh, actually, we are done. Last question. How do you know these hobbies are a good alternative rather than a bad alternative?
Oh, we actually talked about this
Yes, we did.
a couple podcasts ago too. But I think it's just a matter of knowing how it affects your life personally too. Like recognizing the ways that it keeps you going, or just like when a good thing can become a bad thing if you overwork yourself in that. So also recognizing when it could be too much, or maybe you need to take a step back. But even earlier we said you're keeping busy, so then when you do rest, you enjoy that rest and you're not really engaging in risky behavior. But it's also just you feel connected to communities, you get to network, you get to build your personal resume, but also just get to experience what you like and what you don't like. I think those are all really valuable takeaways from being a part of an unconventional hobby.
I know that what I do is a good alternative when you find people praising rather than like looking down on you for like the
That's a
things you
good
do.
one.
Like it's good that you're doing that. Keep doing it. This is gonna really benefit you, and it is benefiting me. So that's how I also know it is a good alternative when I'm doing something that I can add to my resume. That's good.
There you
Like
go.
you know,
Yeah.
like that's just like how you know that you're staying away from the bad and going to the good.
Yeah.
You know, so that's
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to end with one piece of advice.
Yes. What is one piece of advice you would give to our viewers or listeners?
get and or stay involved. Definitely, like I said, just stay busy, because not only does it like keep you away from substances, like even if you're going through a heartbreak, like distract your mind, like it could really help with so much. So that's what I have to say. Get involved.
My piece of advice would be don't be afraid to be the new person. I think a lot of times you can get in your head about having to try something new because you are new, but I tried pickleballing. I was really bad at it. And now I'm getting complimented by some of my worst critics too, which are like these older gentlemen that every time I play with them, I'm like, dang, they're really humbling me. I can't play this game. But they'll end the game and they're like, you're quick on your feet. You have really good power on your swings. And they'll just give me little things that I can walk away from. And I love it. And I'm like, oh, wow, like I love this challenge. This has been a lot of fun. But also recognize when you need to rest from something. Like I know that with like church, there's a lot of praise in serving, but then sometimes I overlook that I need rest because I like to know that I'm doing something good. So those times that I've taken a step back makes me recognize I miss this. I miss being a part of this. And then I appreciate it even more when I come back to it after I've taken some necessary rest.
My advice would be, I think each hobby has to fit the individual.
Yeah.
Like for me, football works because I love doing it. I know people that collect stamps and are just as passionate about collecting stamps as I am about working with kids. And I think it's weird because it's, but to them, that works for them. As long as you're not, smoking weed and doing all the things that we don't want you to do in the prevention world, I think if it's not illegal and it's not hurting anybody, knock yourself out, be your own person, do what makes you feel good, and it occupies your time and keeps you away from getting involved in that other stuff. Throughout my long life, my almost 58 years on earth now, I've had a lot of hobbies and they've worked because I've never smoked and never drank and done none of that stuff. Part of that was, like I said before, was, having parents that kept me busy purposefully, and family members, because my grandparents also. But, find something that you like doing, make it individual, make it something that's specific to you. Some people enjoy listening to music as a hobby, just zoning in, putting their beats on or whatever, and, zoning out, listening to music. That's fine. It's legal and you're not getting high off of it. Well, maybe spiritually or something.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but
you are
yeah,
releasing some dopamine, which is good. It's
yep,
healthy dopamine.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. So do what makes you, occupies your time and makes you feel good. That's my advice. So with that being said, I think we're done for this episode.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Anaida and Liz for joining us. I'd like to thank myself for being the host. Joke.
Thank you, Omar.
Oh, you're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
See you.